Now, from a buyer and seller perspective, it's a long search cycle. It can last up to 12 months, and it starts at the high end of the funnel with kind of awareness gathering. And so it's more entertainment and infotainment. Then as a consumer, a buyer or seller works through that cycle, they get into this information gathering stage. And they start looking at towns and neighborhoods and schools and the related things associated with their move. And then at the very low end of the funnel, they're really now starting to look at specific homes. Now again, this process can take upwards of 12 months. So our media strategy is really designed to identify, target, and follow that consumer through that long search cycle, whether you're buying or selling a home, through that very, very long cycle. So with that being said, some of our challenges. Number one, as a brand, we wanted to maintain and increase brand awareness, to stay within that consideration set throughout that long process, right? To be viewed as kind of the information leader, kind of that Sherpa that will help someone through that process. We also want to drive online lead conversion. And so for us, the value proposition, the cascade as a franchise brand goes from brand to broker to agent to consumer. So part of our value proposition is to deliver a high-value lead, that high-value consumer who is close to transacting, right to a broker or ERA agent, through the very, into that funnel. And then also, one way we do that is to deliver contextually relevant messages to that consumer at the right time, at the right place. So once they've worked their way through entertainment, infotainment, and they know where they want to buy, they start searching a specific market, they start looking at specific houses, we want to deliver a contextually relevant branded message to that consumer right at that point, right at that intersection, and deliver it to that agent. Lijo.
All right. Thank you, Chris. So how do we go about doing that? You're all aware of remarketing or retargeting by its different names. You come to the site. We know who you are. We know what you look for, and we can message to you. That's great. But that's only part of the solution, because there's only so many people coming to a brand's real estate website. So how do we scale that audience? How do we go after where people are looking when they actually need a new home or a house? So we reached out to, as Chris mentioned, some of the publishers that we worked with historically and said, Zillow, you have a much larger audience compared to people who come to our brand's website. But we want to make sure that we deliver a message to them that's relevant, on point, and right when they're on your site, not 10 days later or 6 months later. And the whole idea is we deliver them a message that's relevant to them so that they come back to the site, come back to the ERA's website. So how do we go about doing that? We work with Zillow, we work with our media partners, media technology partners, and we work with our ad servers to make sure that we act upon the insight that we got through our research. And the insight is, when people are looking for a home, as a lot of you did, they want to identify a location where they want to live in. Starting out with a city, a state, then they narrow it down to a city, and then even there, it's like which school district and all the other things that go with it. So we used all that data, and we worked with Zillow and our partners to come up with this. You researched New Jersey, you researched Madison, now you want to zero in on a home. Our experts at ERA will guide you home. Let's work together. Now, you'll see a couple of things here. It's like, as the creative goes through its cycles, we're kind of letting you know that we know what you're looking for. And we are getting this data in near real time from our publisher partner, Zillow. So this is a great example of how we work with Zillow to get their data, use that in real time to inform the creative. What I want to do next is roll a video that'll show you the actual consumer experience, not just us showing you on screen what the ad looks like. We could do this by creating several thousand variations, but we went about doing this programmatically using the data. And the key is, this is how we use data and creative together and executed a program that not just a banner, but kind of telling a story, and as Chris mentioned, kind of following the consumer through the journey as they came back to Zillow or as they came back to several other publishers we work with to do the same thing. What does all this mean? As someone said a few minutes back, it doesn't mean anything if you're not able to sell houses. So we had about 5,000 leads, and leads are, in our case, people actually filling out their name, their email address, and in a lot of cases, their phone number saying, I'm interested in buying a home from ERA. Have one of your local agents contact me. And this is in addition to a ton of media impressions, which obviously aids brand awareness, and a ton of high-value actions, which we deemed as people who are actually sharing the listings, people who are actually printing out the listings. I'm not sure who's printing the listings, but people are printing the listings, right? So all in all, a program that used data from one of the publishers that we work with, married that with the creative, and led to amazing results for our brand, ERA.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, as I mentioned, this is really at the end of that search process, putting the buyer, the seller, and the agent together through a high-value lead and trying to facilitate that transaction.